Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about A Gentleman in Moscow, written by Amor Towles. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, A Gentleman in Moscow, very interesting story here, because Alexander Rostov is a gentleman in Moscow. So basically, what happens, you get the Bolsheviks, they're in charge, and they pretty much send Alexander to house arrest in the Metropole Hotel in Moscow. And pretty much, he stays there for years and years and years. And lots of things are happening within this work. I mean, the country is changing, the political climate is changing, the people are changing. And a lot of things happen to Alexander. I mean, he goes through a lot of things from his romantic life, from thinking about committing suicide, from living in the hotel, from being fed in the hotel, from judging the staff around him. I mean, this man, he goes through a lot of things, but for the most part, he remains a gentleman. I mean, um, the suicide part is not pleasant, and there's a lot of things that are not pleasant. But for the most part, he is a gentleman in Moscow. Um, One thing I would say, he develops a lot of relationship with lots of different people. There are people who are in government that befriend him, that have conversation with him. Sometimes he's a mentor to these people, the people that come in and out of his life. He has several meetings and conversations with many different people where he's just, he's a mind. He's from this past that he's filled with information, and he has a lot of information to give. So people visit him from time to time, and he befriends people from time to time. But one thing that's very interesting within this work is that he's really close with a lot of women. Mishka is his best friend, and she comes in and out throughout the work, where they have conversations. And in one way, we can say that Mishka kind of saved his life because she wrote a poem, and the poem was published on his name. And the poem saved his life because the poem was sympathetic, or it shined, it was approving of the revolution. So the Bolsheviks spared him, um, because of that poem, and he didn't even write the poem. It was just published, with his name. And Mishka was the one that wrote the poem, and that saved his life because that's the only reason why they assigned him to house arrest, at the Metropole instead of killing him. So that's very significant. So women do help him a lot, and women do save him. So sometimes it's being a gentleman, especially to women. It's really great being a gentleman because they might just save your life. And so Alexander Rostov here, he meets Nina. Nina was just a little girl when Rostov meets her, and she has a pass key. They go exploring in the metropole, which I understand because I'm that type of person. If I'm ever anywhere, like back when I was in school, college, and everything like that, I love going to new buildings. I love seeing different departments. I love looking in different places, and understanding different things, because, well, I love exploring, and that kind of really was interesting to me, because it's something that I would do. I would explore things, explore rooms. I mean, they explored the basement, the boiler, closets, everything that made the hotel function. They explored it. So the curiosity of Nina as a kid is the same curiosity that Rostov have because they just explored it together. Eventually, Nina gives him the passkey, which is quite significant for him. But he gets to explore the hotel. I mean, it is his pretty much his prison, so he gets to get quite comfortable. I mean, he even kicks in the back of his closet and finds a spare room and makes himself his own study place. Um, so lots of things happen with him. Rostov, he also meets a woman by the name of Anna. And Anna, they become close, romantically close. Um, there's an encounter where she was about to sleep with him, but with a whole thing with a blouse and him hanging it up and all this, that, and the third, and they had a little, pish posh here and there. But ultimately, he does go to her by the end of the work in an inn. Um, so Nina grows up. We do see a lot of these. We do see Nina and Mishka. We do see their lives change throughout this work. Nina gets married. She has a daughter with her husband by the name of Sophia, and Nina does disappear within the work, leaving Sophia with Rostov, which also proves how much of a gentleman he is, because Nina just literally just dumps Sophia and Rostov, and he becomes a father out of nowhere. Now he was close with Nina, but Nina just took advantage of that closeness. She's like, well, I have this daughter. Life is not going well. And so I'm going to dump my daughter on Rostov. And Alexander just takes care of this little girl and becomes close with her. The daughter goes on to become a great pianist. And Rostov is very proud. So he does become this like father, which proves to how much of a gentleman he is, and which makes his life better with him staying in the hotel because, well, that you get to be a whole father while you're there, and you get to raise this kid that's not even yours, but that belongs to another kid that you used to explore a hotel with. So life is interesting like that. The little kid that you used to pretty much babysit ends up giving you another baby in which you babysit. That's just it's kind of freaky if you think about it. Um, Mishka, she was, politically involved, getting in and out of things. She started speaking out against the government, the Bolsheviks, and she gets punished for it. And so her life, Mishka is in of a way kind of like an activist within this work, and she does get the repercussions of that throughout the work, whether it is challenging the government or praising the government or being punished by the government. Mishka does represent that type of figure of like that. She's gonna roll up her sleeves and get in the discourse of society. So Mishka's an interesting character. Nina's an interesting character. Her how she grows from a little girl to a woman to a mother to just dumping Sophia and Rostov is very interesting. Anna's romantic relationship with Rostov. So these four women, Nina, Mishka, Anna, Sophia, all of them have an impact on his life and his house arrest at the Metropole, and he grows, whether it is playing a father figure to Sophia, whether it is being this somewhat of play companion, or the relationship between Nina and Rostov is strange. We can't. It's like they're part friends, they're part father and daughter. They're part acquaintances, and it's also kind of creepy because like they become friends when she's a little girl and he's a grown man on house arrest. Like it's like the prisoner and the child. I mean, adults would probably like not befriend a person in house arrest because, well, we can understand the societal implications, but a child is just very curious. Kids are you're curious about everything. You're like, why are things the way they are? Why does the world work? It's like, I used to break toys when I was a kid. I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I was a kid, anything my parents bought me, I would break them to see what's inside. I think a lot of kids do that when they're young because you're just so curious about the world. And Nina, when she gets introduced to Rostov, that's what she is. She's like this little kid that sees this man and she wants to know more about the world. When she gets older and she becomes an adult, well, then she becomes an adult and, life gets hard. I mean, she gets married and, her husband gets taken away and sent to a labor camp. And she has a daughter, and the daughter is too much to handle because, she has to deal with life, and then she just dumps Sophia and Rostov. So as we get older, life gets tougher. You have to endure. You have to, you know, just keep fighting and keep moving forward. and Nina's growth. We do see that throughout the work. Um, and we do see Rostov befriending lots of other people within the work, but his relationship with these women, Nina, Mishka, Sophia, Anna, they're very interesting. Mishka is the best friend. Nina is like she's like a father figure slash friend slash child playmate. Slash father figure towards Nina, and then he's another father figure towards Nina's daughter Sophia, and Anna's the love interest. And then by the end of the work, it's Rostov and Sophia. They get quite close, like a father figure. She ends up leaving the metropole, and he escapes from the metropole. Making sure Sophia is safe and out. Of the country, and he pretty much, with the help of friends, he pretty much, escapes the metropole. He escapes the metropole. There's a whole thing about him going to Finland, which is a diversion, and he goes back to his hometown and meets Anna in an inn. And the work pretty much ends with him escaping the metropole. But he did spend a very long time there. In terms of analysis and deeper meaning, though this says a lot about Rostov, the country, changing times, and how Rostov remains a gentleman. You know, his treatment of people around him is interesting. His the friends that he makes saves his life. Um, Sometimes in life, again, being kind, being a gentleman, it will save your life sometimes. Because, like, sometimes you can be hardworking, you can be intelligent, you can be smart, but the things that make you successful in life is honestly how you treat people. Because sometimes those people could lift you up, those people could save your life, those people could make you rich. Sometimes your friends get rich and they're like, okay, I'm going to bring my family, I'm going to bring my friends up with me, and those friends making you rich and wealthy and successful. So sometimes it's not you and your hard work and how intelligent you are. It's literally, it's the community that you're with and the people that, like, all right, I'm going to bring you up when I go up. So Rostov, again, Mishka's poem is the thing that saved his life. Him being a gentleman, him being kind, him helping people out, helping out his friends and being there. He can be a teacher, he can be a father figure. He's just a nice guy. Him being a father figure, him being a friend, him being this individual who's there, um, you know, to help them stay alive. His escape from the metropole is interesting. His relationship with these people are interesting. From politicians to little kids. I mean, he's such a gentleman. He can be friends with little kids, all the way up to people in the government, and even the government had some type of forgiveness for him, although it was all because of a poem. Um, again, this says a lot about the changing times within the work and the changing people, and how all things are not peachy. Because Nina was a member of the party or supported the party, and so was Mishka, in her work. At first, it all sounded peachy and all good, but Nina and Mishka, they all felt the consequences of being involved in politics, and sometimes it can bite back. um, you know. This work, you're definitely looking at the political structure, the political, you know, um, the political situations of Bolshevik Russia. You're looking at Rostov's relationship with all the people that he meets and how that impacts his life. You're looking at depression, suicide, love, and romance, and a man's dealing with life after things have gone wrong and bad for him. Because there's some parts of the work that's good for Rostov, and there's some parts that where he just had to cling on to hope. Sometimes there's things that are good. Sometimes you just had to cling on to hope. From suicide to being a father to being a teacher to being a friend to being a lover. I mean, this man experienced everything in that metropole. Although he was in like house arrest there, he pretty much lived a very full life, and it ends up with him escaping, and going to Anna by the end of the work. So that's all I have to say about this work. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.